I spent 10 years transforming my father's struggling workshop into something remarkable. Every product design came from my late-night sketches. Every brand decision passed through my hands first. Every major client relationship existed because I built it from nothing. The company grew from 3 employees to 50, from barely breaking even to consistent 6-figure profits. Investors started calling. Industry magazines requested interviews. But the paperwork still carried my father's name, not mine. I never worried about that detail. He was my father. I trusted him completely. We were family. Besides, I told myself the business would eventually be mine anyway. I was building my own future, securing my own legacy. Until the morning everything shattered. Until I learned that blood doesn't always mean loyalty. Until I discovered that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones waiting to betray you. 2. Family meeting email came on a Tuesday morning. My father's assistant scheduled it without explanation, marking it urgent in the calendar. I assumed we were discussing the expansion plans I'd been developing for months. I arrived early with my laptop, a presentation ready, excitement buzzing through my veins. My father sat at the head of the conference table, expression unreadable. My brother Tyler sat beside him, unusually quiet, avoiding eye contact. That should have been my first warning. Tyler never attended business meetings. He worked in sales but rarely involved himself in operations or strategy. Yet there he was, dressed in a suit nicer than anything I'd seen him wear before. My father slid documents across the polished wood table toward me. Effective immediately, he announced without preamble, Tyler will assume the role of Chief Operating Officer. You'll transition to a consulting position. Same salary, reduced responsibilities. The words hit me like physical blows. What? I managed, my voice barely above a whisper. Dad, what are you talking about? I run operations. I've been running them for years. He wouldn't meet my eyes. The board feels the company needs stronger leadership, someone less emotional in decision-making, someone who can handle pressure without getting attached to outcomes. My hands trembled as I flipped through the documents. Legal paperwork, already signed, already finalized. They'd made this decision without me, planned it behind closed doors while I worked 70-hour weeks building their empire. I built this company, I said, my voice rising. Every system, every client relationship, every successful product launch, that was me. Tyler finally looked up, a smirk playing at his lips. You helped, sure, but Dad's name is on everything, his company, his final say. My father nodded slowly. That's how business works, sweetheart, nothing personal. I looked between them, seeing clearly for the first time. This wasn't about capability or emotion. This was about control, about keeping power in male hands, about my father's outdated belief that his son should inherit everything regardless of who actually built it. You used me, I whispered. You needed me to make the company profitable, and now that it is, you're pushing me aside so Tyler can take credit. Neither of them denied it. My father just shrugged, like this was inevitable. Like I should have expected this outcome all along. I stood up, legs shaking but voice steady. I quit. My father's expression flickered with surprise. Don't be dramatic, you're still getting paid. I don't want your pity salary, I replied. Keep it, keep everything. I hope you both enjoy running the company I built. I walked out without looking back, leaving my laptop, my files, everything behind. Let them try to figure it out. Let them learn exactly how much I did. Let them fail. The first 2 weeks were brutal. I cried until my eyes swelled shut. I questioned everything about myself, my skills, my judgment, my worth. Maybe my father was right. Maybe I was too emotional, too attached, too soft for business. Maybe Tyler was better suited to lead. Maybe I should just accept my place and move on quietly, but then something shifted. I was organizing my home office when I found old notebooks from the company's early days, my product sketches, my marketing strategies, my handwritten business plans that transformed my father's failing workshop into something profitable. None of this was luck. None of this was my father's genius. This was me, my vision, my work, my brilliance, and I could do it again. Better this time, without anyone holding me back or stealing credit. I opened my laptop and started planning. Not a comeback, a revolution. I called the one employee who'd always been loyal, Keisha, my operations manager. They're going to destroy everything we built, she said when I explained what happened. Tyler doesn't know the first thing about running operations. Your father's already making terrible decisions. I know, I replied. That's why I'm starting my own company and I want you to come with me. Silence. Then, when do we start? I used my savings, every dollar I'd put away over 10 years of underpaid work, and rented a small office space. Keisha and I worked 18-hour days rebuilding from scratch. We reached out to old contacts, people who'd worked with me personally. We offered better products, better service, better pricing. Most importantly, we offered innovation. Where my father's company had grown stagnant and outdated, we brought fresh ideas and modern approaches. Where Tyler relied on the family name, we relied on actual competence. Word spread fast in our industry. People talk, especially when someone rises from nothing. 3 months in, we landed our first major client, one who'd left my father's company specifically to work with me. 6 months in, we'd tripled our initial revenue projections. Investors who'd previously called my father started reaching out to me instead. Industry blogs wrote articles about my rapid success. Former executive launches competitor, outpaces original company in record time. My father's business started declining almost immediately after I left. Clients complained about poor service, products shipped late or with defects. Employees quit, frustrated by Tyler's incompetence and my father's stubbornness. I watched from a distance, neither celebrating nor interfering, just building, just growing, just proving everyone wrong. By the end of the first year, my company's revenue exceeded what I'd built for my father. And his company, hemorrhaging money, losing clients, drowning in debt, because they hadn't just removed me. They'd removed the only person who actually understood how to run the business. The call came on a grey afternoon 15 months after I'd walked out. My father's number appeared on my phone screen. I stared at it for 3 rings before answering. "Hello," his voice sounded older, tired. "We're shutting down." He said without preamble, "The company, we can't sustain the losses anymore." I stayed silent, letting him continue. "I was wrong," he admitted. "About everything, about Tyler, about thinking we could run it without you. I underestimated how much you did, how much you meant to the company's success." "I know," I replied simply. He exhaled shakily. "Would you consider coming back, not as an employee, as a partner? We could rebuild together, start fresh." I almost laughed, almost. "Dad, I didn't leave. You pushed me out. You chose Tyler over me despite everything I'd accomplished. And when I built something even better on my own, you didn't congratulate me. You stayed silent." "I was ashamed," he whispered. "I am ashamed." "Good," I said. "You should be." But then I surprised myself with what I said next. "I'll buy the company." Silence, complete, shocked silence. "You, what?" "I'll buy what's left of the business, fair market value, which considering current circumstances won't be much, but I'll buy it, merge it with my company, save whatever can be saved." "Why would you do that?" he asked, voice breaking. "Not for you," I clarified. "For the employees who stayed loyal, for the legacy I actually built, even if your name was on it." "And for closure?" He was quiet for a long moment. "Then it's yours." We met 3 days later to sign paperwork. The same conference room where he'd demoted me now hosted the transfer of his entire company into my hands. Tyler wasn't present. He'd already moved on to another job, another company where his last name meant something. My father looked smaller, somehow diminished. "I'm sorry," he said again, "for not seeing your worth until it was too late." I nodded. "I forgive you. But I'll never forget." The merger took 6 weeks to complete. I rehired loyal employees my father had let go. I updated every outdated system and process. I rebranded everything under my company's name, erasing the old identity entirely. And on the grand reopening day, I stood before a building that had once represented my father's legacy. Now it represented mine. The sign above the door bore my name in bold letters. Not his, not the family's, mine. Media outlets covered the story. Daughter reclaims company after being forced out by father. Clients celebrated. Employees thrived under proper leadership again. My father sent flowers with a card that read simply, "Proud of you." I kept the card, not because I needed his approval anymore, but because it marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. They didn't destroy me by pushing me out. They freed me. And I came back stronger, wiser, and completely in control of my own destiny.